All right, boys. So tell me something. How many of you, honestly, have experienced an inner intrinsic turmoil or conflict between wanting to share and have a relationship with one woman in honesty, in love, and giving, against the urge to just run through everything that moves? Because I have spent my life, I'm a 36-year-old man, and I've spent my life doing the latter. And somehow, intrinsically, I knew all along that it was wrong, but I invented an endless amount of coping strategies, basically just lies to myself, to make it make sense so that I could continue doing that, womanizing and seeing different chicks and moving like that, satisfying my ego, when somehow deep down I always knew that it is bringing me nowhere fast. So obviously it's a bit of a trick question, because we as men, this is a story as old as time itself. We as men battle between our flesh and our soul, you could say, our spirit, which is on one hand our biological imperative. It tells us to basically impregnate every single thing that we see. If our eyes like it, we have an urge to do that. And it's very, very real. But does that mean that it is necessary or good? Because obviously all of the best scenarios when it comes to raising human beings comes from a two-parent household. And a two-parent household is the foundation of a successful and a working society. It's also the underpinning of scriptures. So you have the Bible, you have the Old Testament, you have the creation story, Genesis, and then you have Adam and Eve. So whether you look at that as literal or not, that's besides the point of this video. A woman was created for man, and we were told to go forth and multiply, but not with multiple women. Adam was given Eve, full stop. That was the divine intention. And actually the origin point of all human species, the however many billion of us that are here now. I have over time, and actually with the help of a very good mate of mine, developed a framework to think about this. It's an idea, it's a concept, metaphorical analogy to think about this and challenge my own self, challenge my own belief system. And I think that will be very useful. So that's why I want to put it out there. And the analogy is picking a flower versus planting a tree. So if you look at the actions of each road that you take, either you have a relationship, either you're single or you're in a relationship, and still men who are in a relationship doesn't mean that they cease to have this urge, the urge to procreate, to spread seed in multiple different women. But the question is, what are the fruits of each option? Meaning, where does each option bring us? And as a man who has spent his life doing it the wrong way, I have come to the unequivocal understanding that the fruits of this tree are bad. They're black. So, back to the analogy. Flowers are beautiful. We have trees, they give life, they produce flowers, produce fruits. Flowers are beautiful. You can walk past a tree that you see every day on your way to work or your way to here or there, and you can walk past that and you can admire its beauty every single day. A lot of us have an inkling or an inclination to want to pluck one of those flowers. That way you can experience it up close. You can smell it, you can touch it, you can carry it, you can hold it with you. You can take it with you. But what happens after a few days? The flower dies. Now you're left with something dead, something rotten, something that you just discard. You throw it straight in the bin. But the tree is still there. The plant that you picked that from is still there. The problem with masculine nature is. If I'm walking past this tree every single day and I pluck the flower and I take it with me, I've experienced it now. I'm good. After I discard it, I don't need to go back to the same tree. It's kind of like old news. But that doesn't mean that that was the right thing for me to do, to pluck that and take that with me. Whereas what's the other side of the analogy? We would be walking past a beautiful tree we see every day and start to build a relationship with it from a distance, without intimacy. And then over time, when you realize, like, actually, I've been working on in my backyard. I've got a nice little garden growing. Got some good fresh grass and soil. I think what I might do is actually dig that tree up one day and come home and plant it. So you're probably seeing where I'm going so far with this analogy, but it's basically the difference between consuming and nurturing. So you can go past every beautiful tree you see and pluck its flower and then be done with it after a few days. This is old, rotten, boom, latest. Discard. Which is actually what so many of us are doing. This is what I've been doing my whole entire life. Plucking beautiful flowers, getting bored of the scent, and then discarding it. Thinking that somehow I am accomplishing something. That I'm feeding my ego. Like this is a good thing. I'm conquering. I'm enjoying. I'm not lying. I'm not deceiving. All these people, all these women that I'm sharing these moments with, it's all consensual. So it should be all good, no? Yeah. But why is it that in the scriptures, why is it that in religious circles, in people who have faith in a creator, that a monogamous marriage is the underpinning? If we go back to, again, Adam and Eve. It's because that road leads to destruction. It ends up becoming a black hole, an endless bottomless pit that the partaker is attempting and miserably failing at filling. And who are the victims of that? Yourself is one victim, and then also all of the trees that you've plucked so carelessly, all of the women that you've taken that piece of innocence from, that they can never get back. I guess that's where the analogy fails, because the tree can regrow its flower, and to an extent a woman can too, but there is an element of a psychological bond, a psychological tax, a toll that must be paid for that shared intimacy without relationship, without commitment. And over time, after analyzing this in myself and realizing how it wasn't getting better over time, it was getting worse. The more and more I indulged and dabbled in this world, the worse it got over time, not better. As you start to rack up numbers, even getting into ridiculous and disgusting figures, then the toll that it even started to take on myself is actually misery. And the difference between these two analogies, plucking the flower and bringing home the tree, the reason why that is the prescription by God, that is the prescription of society as a whole. If you look around us, where the most thriving societies are, the places that other people from other societies want to be, the underpinning is that relationship, a man and a woman, and then the children that come after. Because why? Rather than selfishly going to pluck the flower that you know deep down, maybe you don't know, a young man doesn't know this. I had no idea at first, but you catch on pretty quick that the satisfaction you get from that is fleeting, and very fleeting. It gets faster and faster. How fast it becomes that you lose your satisfaction from that. So what's the difference? If you refrain from picking the flower and you take care of that, And then you decide that it's time to actually uproot the tree as a whole, the plant as a whole, and bring it home and then plant it in your garden. What happens then? It gets an opportunity to grow alongside you as you tender to it. And guess what? It keeps growing flowers. And you can keep plucking those flowers as often as you like, because now it is taken care of and it is stewarded in the right way. So that's kind of the point that I want to drive home here. The original design is there for a reason. Because this is the most fruitful way to live. This is how we gain the most from this life, this finite life. We're here one day and we're gone the next. So of course, connecting to the Creator is above all else. But then while we're here, the true way to seek satisfaction and fulfillment in this life is through relationship. And I've had to learn that the hard way. Of course, I've had relationships over the course of my life, but the fact that I could always in my mind return to the well and just start walking down the streets and plucking flowers, it was such a pull that I'm not even sure I was ever truly committed or actually fully participating in the relationships that I had. And I think if you ask yourself the same question, honestly, you'll come to the same conclusion. So that's it. Rather than pluck the flowers, take your time. Get to know different trees. And once you find one, still don't pluck the flower. Do your due diligence. Offer it relationship. Offer this woman we're talking about, yeah? An actual relationship with commitment under the eyes of the Creator of all things, and treat that covenant like it should be treated. Bring this tree home, plant it, give it the due diligence and care that it needs so that this woman can actually flourish and not have something taken from her by you without the commitment to relationship. And then the fruits, the flowers that you were enjoying in this destructive way before become constructive. Now it's there all day, every day, and it can flourish and it can grow, and your relationship together can grow in unfathomable ways. So that's a little analogy that I've come up with to help me. Obviously, the idea now, I'm not in a relationship. The idea now is to be abstinent for a long enough period that I can rewire my brain from all of the negative programming that it had in there. And that's probably going to take some time. But the goal after that is to seek, obviously, back to the beginning. Seek relationship. Seek connection. Seek intimacy. Real intimacy. With all other doors, all other trees, all other flowers have the door closed on them. And then you plant that, and then you can get to experience the true fruits of that relationship. And I'm sure there's another analogy to flip this from a woman's perspective and how it makes sense. Whether it's a garden or a nature, I don't know. That's obviously not my channel. My channel's catered to men. But I'm sure that women can relate to this as well. Because your flowers, without being planted in the gardener's garden, should not be plucked. And there is a consequence to that. It's a feeling of emptiness. So that's it. Gonna wrap that up there. As always, let me know your thoughts in the comments. If you reckon the metaphor hits or if it falls short. Looking forward to it. Until the next one. God bless.